I just wanted to tell you our congratulations for the gold record that you got for the MTV Unplugged.
Oh, merci beaucoup.
That must be a very nice feeling to know that so many people have enjoyed watching this project.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So many people involved, and so we were very happy to celebrate the gold album. But it was just a weekend before our longtime friend and manager Peter Arment passed away.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was very nice, and it was very, very sad at the same time. You know, when we learned that about Peter's passing, and yeah, I mean, it would have been so great if he could have been there, and but you know, that's life. You know, so. After early September, we've been going through rough emotional times, you know.
Right, because we know that, I mean, we learned the news, of course, about his passing too, and it looks like, I mean, of course, he was your manager, but there was also a very kind of friendship between you, right?
Yeah, we worked for the Scorpions for more than 23 years.
Yeah.
And he's been more than a manager, and he's really been truly a friend, you know. And when you're close to somebody and you work so close together for such a long time, you know, and it was really a shock when we learned about Peter's passing.
Of course. So you remember how you started working together 20 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, in the early 90s. I think it was Rudolf and me. We had the first meeting, and it was a friend who had set us up, a friend from the music business here in Germany. And so there are not so many lawyers out there being close to the music industry, you know, and Peter was one of them. And that's when we you know, and and he got more and more involved over the years, and was not only our attorney, but he became our manager on worldwide issues, you know.
Yeah.
And, he did our booking, and he was taking care of everything, you know. And he was like a fortress, standing in front of the band and making sure everything will run smoothly. And a huge part of the success the Scorpions enjoy, especially in the last couple of years, it's really because the way he did his job, you know, and the way he was committed to the Scorpions with all his heart, you know.
And so, would you say also that his decisions, for example, in the late 90s, he helped you to go through maybe more difficult times in your career, right?
Yeah, it was like we were starting all over again, in a way, you know. I mean, in the 90s, with alternative music and the whole grunge movement, you know, the world of music changed completely, and we were starting all over. And Peter always believed that he would take us all the way to the top, and he did. And he was working really very closely with us until the very last days of his life, you know. So he was very, very committed, and a great friend. So it's a tragedy for us, you know.
Yeah, sure. We understand that. And so you get to deal at the same time with the pleasure of getting this gold record and moving on in your career, and dealing with his loss. Yeah, that must be a hard time for the band.
Yeah.
Right. So on a brighter note, so looking back on the acoustic project that you did, there were some very powerful risks that you took there. I'm thinking particularly of the song "Follow Your Heart." So how did it feel for you, Klaus, to be alone on that stage? That was a new experience for you.
Yeah, very different, and but exciting, you know. And I mean, after all these years, to perform a song in front of a huge audience, just me, myself, and my guitar.
Yeah, right.
And present a whole new song I wrote, you know. So, and I mean, I came up with the idea. I thought it would be nice if we, the three of us, Rudolf, Matthias, and myself, had a chance to present a song and present something new, you know.
Right.
And I knew about this song Rudolf had, and I thought it would be a nice idea to give him a chance to not only play guitar but also sing, you know, and sing that song. And Matthias came back from Stockholm with a new instrumental, and so this idea was shaping up. And since I had this song, I thought it would be a nice part in the show if the three of us would present something new, and in a very personal and special way.
Right. Do you remember how you came up with this song idea?
Yeah, I mean, this song is fairly new. I wrote it last year, and I thought it would be nice to address it to the young audience, since we have, in the last couple of years, we have a whole new audience out there, and many young kids, and especially when we played in France, you know, every night we saw a whole new generation in front of the stage, and this was about to say, whatever you do in your life, you always should believe in yourself and follow your heart, you know, and no matter what people are telling you, you know, just believe in yourself and follow your inner feelings, your instinct, you know, follow your heart. That was the basic idea, to address this song to the young audience, to the young generation.
That is something you have promoted, in fact, all your career. I'm thinking, for example, about the song Don't Stop at the Top, or where you have this kind of lyrics to tell people that if they believe in something, they can achieve it and they can do it.
Yeah, because it's our background, it's our story. You know, the way we grew up. Some kids in West Germany, small town, and we thought if you're talented and you have a group of people who share the same dream, and even better if you have a friend who is on the same road to success and with all the same hopes and dreams, and when you find that person, and if you believe in yourself, you know, you can make it. It's a story of the Scorpions, you know.
Yeah, true. And so, speaking about the story of the Scorpions, I mean, now, or, well, next year, more precisely, you will be looking back at a 50-year-long career. I mean, you know, Crazyscorps, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, a couple of days ago. And thinking about it, I mean, I realized it was only a fifth of your longevity. I felt it was a huge time, you know. And so
it's amazing. I mean,
that must be, it must be a really strange feeling to look back on 50 years.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, it puts a smile on my face, you know, when I hear myself saying 50th anniversary, you know. I mean, I wasn't there. It was Rudolf who started the band in '65, but I was in my own 65 with the Mushrooms, and but Rudolf started the band in '65, and it's 50 years now, and at least I'm shared 45 years with the Scorpions.
Yeah.
And but it's an anniversary coming up, and it feels strange, but at the same time we're proud, because we know that there are not so many bands around who can celebrate a 50 years anniversary.
Right. Once again, I mean, you are breaking barriers. I mean, maybe there is the Rolling Stones, of course, and the Status Quo, but there are...
Yeah, and I think the Who will do a celebration later this year as well. And, you know, that's a generation of bands, but at the end of the day, there are very few who can go out for 50th anniversary.
Without disbanding, I mean, I'm thinking, for example, about Black Sabbath, but there is a long period for which they did nothing. But you remained true, and you stayed together. You stick together for 50 years. That's something. Once again, you are at the forefront of music and breaking new barriers. That's great.
Yeah, and you know what the best part of it is? You know, the best part is that we're still passionate about it. We still love what we're doing, and we're still going strong. And we're still in the studio. We're still writing new songs. We go and record some material for a new album that will be out early next year. And so when we started a few years ago, when we thought about this album to put out something for our diehard fans, we were thinking about maybe we find some good material back in the 80s and find some old diamonds and pearls, you know, and we did. But between 2011 and now, and even this year, you know, the songwriting process and still being strong as a songwriter team, you know, this is still something after so many years that feels makes me feel really good about it, you know, because with all those anniversaries around, there are hardly a few who still put out new music, and that's what we will do. You know, there will be our album out next year, and it's not so much about old material. It's much more about a new album, you know, and new stuff, new songs, and
that's amazing.
Really good. Yeah.
So you are, as you said, you have a new record on the way. So you are not done recording yet. You are still in the studio, right?
I mean, actually, right now, as we speak, Rudolf and Matthias are in the studio recording guitars and stuff, and more or less, I'm pretty much done with the vocals, and and we will soon go in November into the mixing process and all that, and we're pretty much done, you know, and so this record will come out in February, March, you know, early next year.
Wow, that's exciting. And so, as you said, you are still you still enjoy writing songs and doing stuff together, and you still like the process of recording to record your vocals and stuff. You still enjoy it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm still in my life. I try to figure out if we would stop touring tomorrow. I still could go to make records in the studio with the Scorpions or without, and would it give me the same pleasure? Yes, you know. But then when I think about it, I go, but right now it's a good balance, you know. I can have both. I can go in the studio and we write new songs and we make a new album, and we still go out there and play some shows, you know. And right now we're putting a tour together for next year, and it will take us pretty much to a lot of places, a lot of countries, and like in the last couple of years when we did this farewell tour, and we said even after 200 concerts we haven't played all the places we wanted to, and right now we try to focus on places we haven't been in the last 2-3 years, and including a few favorite cities, countries, of course. So we're putting this together for next year, so it will be celebration, and it's like we invite our fans to be part of this 50th anniversary party. We throw a party and hopefully have some fun, and hopefully people and fans enjoy the new album, and there will be a movie that will be out in February as well, you know. So it will be a lot of things and some shows coming up, and I think we will be very busy next year.
Yeah, plenty of.
It's been pretty quiet in 2014, you know, but next year I think we will be out there.
Well, you know very much what fans want to hear. They will be delighted about this news. Yeah. And so,
but then at the same time, I mean, talking about all these bands coming close to a 50th anniversary, you know, this is an era for many of us that comes to an end sooner or later, you know, and we can't go on forever, you know. It's a miracle that we're still around, and it feels great, and as long as we can do it, we might be out there, you know. And I mean, we all of us agreed that cutting down the heavy touring and all this, it's definitely. We're at this point in our career right now that when less is more, you know, and but you know, it still feels good. And when you see that we're still on this creative road, and I tell you, the new album sounds fantastic. You know, I tell you right now, it's going to be a fantastic album. You know, so that feels really good, and let's see what life will bring next year.
And so that's a status quo motto, rock till you drop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so talking about this new record, Matthias gave a few information last summer. He said that maybe we would find electric versions of some songs that you played for the MTV shows, and also new songs and older songs. Can you tell us a bit more about the content of the record?
Yeah, I mean, that's how we started, going back to the 80s, and we picked some songs that were never finished really, songs with working lyrics only, but some of those were pretty strong compositions and with great energy and stuff, and we picked some of them up, but in the end, I think we have a great balance between some of those 80s songs, like this early material, and those songs were never really finished, and that was the reason they were never released. I think we have two songs from the MTV Unplugged where we said they would be cool if they would be on album coming like and being electric versions. There are two songs, and the rest is all new,
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's a pretty good balance, I think,
Yeah. And so, while talking about old recordings, do you have a lot of them in your? Is it like you have a drawer in your house where you put all the ideas?
No, I mean we all have drawers in our studios and our places, and with every album, all those years, there are always stuff that won't make it on the album for different reasons. And I think also on this album there are one or two sleepers. They've been around for never released. They're not from the 80s. They were written like maybe around early 90s, 2000, around that time. But they are like sleepers. They're great songs, but they never made it for some reasons. And the time was never right, just like Still Lovin' You was around for 7 years before we recorded it,
Right.
And so I have the feeling at least for one of the songs, it feels a little bit the same. Could be a big song, and it's been around, and it's been there, sleeping.
Right, so maybe, hopefully, one day, right.
Hey, you never know, But I think it's a great mix, and it's a great mix of some 80s material, just a touch of MTV Unplugged. I mean, right now, I think it's two songs, and Follow Your Heart is not even one of them, and some new stuff.
Great.
And that's really exciting, and that's most exciting part when you really hit it for new material, and that feels really good.
Right. And so, just a few words about James. We know that he had some issues earlier this year, and so just can you tell us, will he be playing a part in these new recordings, and will he play a part in Scorpion's future?
Yeah, with James, when he went through this unfortunate incident in Dubai earlier this year, we said, at this point it's good if you take a break,
right.
And not so much for us, but for yourself, and not so much being the drummer of the Scorpions, but for yourself being a family man, and you should go into a rehab and don't think about anything else, but just try to clean out yourself and come back. The same James we know for so many years, and he's been not only our drummer but also our friend, and a great guy, and so giving him that time, we played this whole stretch of shows this year with a great Swedish drummer, Johan Franzen, and
he's a part of the Swedish team that you are having around these years, right?
Yes, yes. And we just played a very few shows this summer, this year, and we played some unplugged shows here in Germany, and they were all great. They were all sold out, going for all the big arenas with this MTV project, with all those guest artists from Sweden and Greece. You know, it was fantastic. And now setting up next year, you know, of course, we want James back, and we said to him, the door is open, you know, and for you to come back, of course. But first, it's up to you, and you have to take care about yourself. Take it serious, go through a serious rehab, and then the door will be open for you.
Okay.
You know, and that's the case. And right now, James will play the drums on the new album.
Great.
The recordings will take place in Stockholm, coming up very soon. And I think James is doing everything to preparing himself to be in great shape and to be back next year for the tour.
So knowing that you are truly supportive behind him also might play a role in his getting in a better shape. The fact that you are supportive also plays a role in the fact that he might feel better, of course, also.
What plays a role?
You are supportive behind him. You are helping him to go through this difficult times. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I mean, we want to give him an outlook into a positive future and support him and help him to get through these difficult times, of course. You know, and so,
that's good.
That's the way it is right now, and we're constantly in touch with James. And of course, when you talk about the gold records, James received his gold record in Los Angeles as well, of course, because he played, he was part of this MTV project, and he received his gold record as well, because there were fans saying, it's just the four of you on the picture. Where is James? No, James also received his gold album, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and so the door is open for James, and I think right now he's rehearsing and working very hard and to be back and to record the drums for this Scorpions album that will be out in February.
Getting ready.
There's a lot of work right now.
Getting ready to kick some ass, right?
Huh?
Getting ready to kick some ass to take his formula.
Yes.
Right. And so there are a lot of celebrations going around in the Scorpions family for the past 2 or 3 years. I mean, we got Herman, who recorded acoustic versions of the songs he wrote when he was with the Scorpions. And there is also Uli, who is touring with a set of his Scorpions favorites. So it looks like all people in the Scorpions family are all saying, hey, we are still in a good shape, we still have a few years ahead, let's rock and celebrate while we can do it. We get this impression that there is this feeling around in the Scorpions family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think all of them participate on the success of the Scorpions, and they come out with their own projects. They go on tour with playing Scorpions shows, Scorpions songs, you know.
Yeah.
Like Uli, and I think Michael did something like that as well, and doing the Laugh Drive anniversary show and whatever it is, you know, they all participate on the success of our band and try to find their own angle and play songs from that moment in time when they were part of the band, or playing songs that they co-wrote with us, like Herman, you know. So, and I think that's cool, you know. I'm glad they're all out there and they still enjoy the music and celebrating parts of their lives where they were part of our band, you know.
Right.
I think that's cool.
And also, I mean, maybe I think it's a way, of course, of celebrating this long career that they had on their own or with the band. But don't you think also it's a nice way to forget about the bad state of the world today and to celebrate rock music, to forget about what is wrong in the world today?
Yeah. I mean, music has been always
a catharsis.
The best thing, to get away for a moment from the real life, from the real world, what's going on around the world. Music always gives us, in good times and bad times, gives us power, to carry on with life, and especially in hard and difficult times. Music is always something that supports us and gives us a good energy to make it through these difficult times.
Right.
And right now, all of us are going through very difficult times around the world, with all those crises and just what's going on in Canada, in Ottawa yesterday, and all those places where it's still a lot of aggressions and wars and confrontations and a lot of hate, instead of love, and instead of moving together into a peaceful future, and coming together, all those countries. And right now in Germany, we celebrate 25 years of the fall of the Berlin Wall, the end of the Cold War, and at the same time, people thinking of building a wall in the eastern Ukraine, So it is sad. It feels like the time goes backwards, but all of us in the world of today, we should move forward into a peaceful and positive future, all of us together. That's a way. In many ways, the world became a village. Through the internet, we're all so much connected, and trying to understanding each other much better than the way it was when we grew up, when we were kids, and we had America, we had Russia, and we were in the middle, in between, And Russia, they were the bad guys, and America was the good guys, And we must take care that we don't go for the old enemies in the back of your mind. It's that's all yesterday. We should move ahead, and we should all work together and try to live together, work together, and live in a peaceful world. Not only for us, but also for the following generations.
Of course.
And it's really sad when you see what's going on right now. In so many ways. In '89, it was a change of time. And I hope that in our lives, in our generation, we will see this change of time, this time change again in a positive way.
Yeah, that's what I
right now, since September 11th, it's a down. The spiral is going down.
Yeah.
And I wish we see it's going up again in a positive way soon.
It's what you say. For example, I was thinking the other day about the lyrics of the song China White that you wrote in the 80s, in which you said, if you remember it, how long will it take till everybody will understand that we need to fill our hearts with love again? And that these lyrics are very much up to date. That's a strange feeling to see that they.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sad that we're in kind of the same situation, like back in the mid '80s, and we shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's right. And so, as a songwriter, you have this strong bond with feelings and emotions. If we look at the lyrics, for example, of Wind of Change, White Dove, New Generation, you seem to care very much about what is going on in the world. And so, with all these things going on today, how do you manage to keep up the good spirits and to stay optimistic?
How you stay optimistic? All of us we have to stay optimistic,
Yeah.
For our children, for the future, and we just have to deal with this. And as musicians, only our part as artists that we can reflect what's going on in our songs, in our music, and that's what we try to do. And it reflects the crazy rock and roll life, and it reflects the struggle we go through in these difficult times, you know. And as musicians, as artists, we try to reflect it, you know, and that's all we can do. And hopefully give people a good. We cannot give the right answers, you know. I don't know. Right. Who knows the answers, you know? But we can give you an emotional support, you know, and we try to find the right words, the right songs, the right music to reach the hearts of our audience, of our fans, and also of the young generation, you know. And that's what we try also with this new album.
Great. And so, still talking about celebrations, this year also marked the 30th anniversary of the Love at First Sting album and the 35th of the Love Drive album. And so, do you know that you have played live all the songs from these two albums except one? Do you remember which song you never played from these albums?
The Same Thrill or something?
No, you played the Same Thrill live.
We did?
Yeah, you did it. I think only on a few dates of the Love at First Sting tour, but you did it. You know that there was another one that we like very much, which is As Soon as the Good Times Roll. You remember that one?
Let the Good Times Roll?
As Soon as the Good Times Roll.
As Soon as the Good Times Roll.
Yeah.
And we never played it live?
Yeah, you never played it live.
And we never will.
Right. And so, do you like to? Do you remember the lyrics you write? Do you like to listen to your album sometimes, or you never do it?
No, not really. No. I mean, I listen to some stuff and some songs when it's about, like, when we go on tour for next year, and we go through our back catalog and let's see which songs we might play, and for the fans, where fans will go, this is cool that they picked that old classic song, and songs that hopefully make it into a set list, and leave some others out we might have played for so many years, and where it's about time to say, okay, great song, feels so good, but maybe we should replace it with something else. And of course there will be new songs, but there might be also some old songs we never touched, you know, and it might be not As Soon as the Good Times Roll, but let's see. Sure. You know, and this is when you go back and listen to some stuff and go, this could be cool, you know.
It's like, you know, I like sometimes to read.
What?
I like to read the lyrics of your songs, and there is one, maybe you remember it, that sums up, I think, your relationship that you've had for 50 years with Rudolf. If you remember the lyrics you wrote, it says, "Even though we ain't no brothers, we follow the spiritual light. It's thicker than blood and harder than stone." And that was from Partners in Crime. I don't know if you remember that song. And this lyrics,
was it Partners in Crime, right?
Yeah, Partners in Crime. And this song is about your friendship with Rudolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sums up this. I mean.
Yeah. Partners in Crime, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
well.
Fun.
He's my brother from a different mother.
Yeah, right. So we still have a few minutes. That's okay with you?
A few minutes.
Well, for as long as you want, of course. But I don't know if you have a time limit.
No. What's the time? I have 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay. I just got a few questions about your first times, if you agree. So, for example, do you remember the first time you met Rudolf?
The first time I met Rudolf.
That's a tough one.
I think I saw him playing with the Scorpions, and I think he was a singer. He was a guitar player. He was a singer, and he was in some club here in Hanover. And I think that's where I saw him the first time. And maybe when I was with my band and we had in the same building, we had our rehearsal rooms, and that's why we probably ran into each other first time, maybe. And maybe I saw him the first time when they played a gig at some club here in Hanover, and I saw him probably on stage, and probably I was wondering why he was turning his back to the audience.
Okay. And he was already doing his yoga positions on stage also.
Which one?
Is yoga position? You know,
yoga? No, he didn't. No.
Yeah, okay.
No.
And so, do you remember the first time that you realized that you could make a living out of your voice, that you could earn your life with your voice?
No, not really. You mean back in those days?
Yeah, I mean,
no, not really. I mean,
that was a long process, right?
You never know, you know. I mean, I was hoping I would be the singer in a band, you know, and hopefully it would work out for a few years, you know, and to make an album, that was like, that would be cool, you know. But then, maybe you make a second album, maybe another one, you know. But then I think it's growing, you know, and by shaping up the band and meeting the right producers and then getting signed to a label, and it's building up. And but in the early days, you never would think you could make a living out of this, or it could be a successful career. You know, not to even think about in your wildest dreams you would celebrate 50 years someday.
Yeah.
No way. no way.
And so no. If you could turn back time and meet young Klaus Meine at 18, what would you tell him?
What would I tell the young Klaus Meine?
Yeah.
I would tell him, you know, there might be some difficult times coming up along the way. It will be a lot of fun, but there will be also some difficult times. And I would tell him, keep going, hang in there, you know.
Right.
You can make it.
You know, I did an interview with Michael Schenker a few months ago, and I asked him that question, and his answer, I think, was very good. He said, I would tell him, don't worry, everything will be fine. And that's that's really what is the case. Yeah.
That was the same thing what I just said, you know. I would tell him there might be rough times coming up along the way, but hang in there and keep going, you know. You can make it.
It's worth all the efforts.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
yeah, I would tell him hard, you know, and don't give up, you know, and follow your heart and keep going.
Right. That's good thing.
Yeah.
And, do you remember the first time, or is there a time that you felt stupid on stage? Did it ever happen?
I felt what on stage?
You felt being ridiculous, or you felt stupid on stage? Did it ever happen?
Maybe in the early days.
Yeah.
Maybe in the early days. Back in the 60s, maybe, you know, with my first band, and you know, it was like, wow. It just for some reasons, you know, it didn't feel right, you know. I think there was a time I was wearing like a completely white dress on stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. Completely white, you know. I thought it was cool, but...
And so you had also this long hair and your beard.
At the same time, I kind of felt like, maybe not, you know. So this one I learned early enough. So for rock and roll, there's a dress code, you know, and a white dress is a no-go, you know.
Yeah, right. Unless you're playing doom metal or religious rock, I don't know. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first groupie?
Well, yes and no, you know. I mean, when you start a band, it's all about girls and getting laid and all that.
Right.
It's just part of the whole magic. When you're up on stage, you become a singer, a musician. That's part of the whole game, part of the whole story.
Yeah.
And there were always girls and everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. And so let's say that you could change one thing and only one thing in the history of the Scorpions. What thing would you change?
I mean, like so many musicians, artists, it's like, especially when you're young and when it comes to you're working with managers, you work with record companies, and you have to sign contracts with producers and all that, So I would say it would be great, if musicians would even more focus on that business part of the story,
Mm-hmm.
and not to get fucked over from greedy managers and business people,
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a lot of musicians had to pay that price, because just they signed their life away because they want to sign a record deal because that was all they wanted, but not knowing that they signed all their rights away and then. So something like that. I think in a long career you learn your lesson about that part as well. And that would be something, starting all over, you would take much more care about and would take a much closer look at the business side of your whole dream and becoming a rock star,
Yeah, that rings a bell. It happened in the early 90s, right? Where you had some problems of that kind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, beside of the fact that in the early 90s, grunge was taking over the world of music. I mean, the whole business affair we went through, and this very difficult times, and losing our bass player back then. I mean, business, taxes, and all that part, it was a very difficult time, and looking back, if I could, it would be nice to cut it out, because it was not a nice experience at all.
And so, talking about that experience, what if you could erase one song from the Scorpions discography? Is there one song that you would like to erase from your career, from your history?
As soon as the good times are over.
Because you never played it live, right? Okay. And on the contrary, what if you could make a hit single of an underrated song? Which one would it be?
Which one would make a hit single from what?
From a song you wrote and which never became a hit or a single.
A song that I wrote that never became a hit?
Yeah, and that you would like to. Well, if you could, you would make it a hit and a #1 single.
Well, it might be on the next album.
Yeah, hopefully there will be a.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, of course. And so just to conclude, what if you could use teleportation? Where would you go right now at 7:45 in the evening? Where would you go? What if you
Where would I go now?
Yeah, if you could use teleportation.
A transportation?
A teleportation, if you could, in the blink of an eye, just go where you want to go right now.
Right now?
Yeah, where would you go?
Home. I go home. Let's go home. I don't know. Where would I go? I mean, I think, it's so funny after all these years. I still like to go everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
I still like to go everywhere. And thinking about next year, and that we might go to places we haven't been for a long time, that feels really good. But right now, I hang up the phone in a few minutes, and then I go back in my studio and keep working on a new album.
Okay. You still have the same pleasure of going out in the world and coming back home. These are two different pleasures, but
absolutely. I still have the same pleasure going to places, visiting new countries, and coming back to Paris once in a while, of course.
Okay.
And so many other places. I still enjoy it very much, but also being on the road, I still enjoy to come back home, and just the last couple of weeks, months on and off here in the studio, since I do the vocals in my own studio and with our Swedish producer, and we're split it up, Rudolf and Matthias work in the guitar world with Michael Nord Anderson, and I work in my studio with Martin Hansen, and it works fantastic, and that's a lot of fun. It's really a benefit, it feels great that you can work within your own walls and your own place,
Great. So, it's time to conclude. So, in the name of the French fans, I would like to thank you so much for the amazing shows that you offered us in the past year. Since 2005, you came and played in France more than 30 times, and we could never have imagined that before
40 times.
40 times. So
I think it's about 40 times.
So
you came to see the show we just did in near Paris?
No, this year I was in Switzerland, where you played a festival this year.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I was there, and so I won't see you again this year, but hopefully next year you will play 15 shows in the summer in France, so of course I will see you.
Let's see. But I tell you, the show we just did near Paris was amazing. There were 80,000 people, and it was amazing, and we had such a good time. And again, we realized what a strong connection there is between the Scorpions and our French audience. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and the feedback that we got, of course there were fans of the band, but there were also a lot of people who maybe were not so much familiar with your music. And the feedback was just amazing. They were just.
But the vibe was amazing, and those 80,000 people. It was such a loud and powerful audience. It was fantastic. It was really cool.
Great. Hopefully there will be 80,000 audiences again next year to with your friends. Yeah.
We're looking very much forward to come back to France next year, and a pleasure. And please say hi to all the Crazyscorps fans and the fan club, and thank you for supporting us for so many years. It's very cool, and and we're looking very much forward to celebrate 50 years with all of you next year.